Hello guys, it's certainly been a while. I haven't done a video in quite some time. Some of you may not have a page on Facebook where I said I would do a whole load of talking stuff about music. I haven't done anything since, I don't know, Two North of the Walls ago, because that was the last thing I think I spoke about. That and In Search of Sanity's upcoming EP, which is now an upcoming album. But more on that in a different video. Today's video is it's a bit different. For a start, for once, I've actually scripted my video, which I never do, because I'm all for the improvisation and all that. But what I decided to do is give you all an insight on the thought process and the sort of general workings me and this fucked up contraption I call the brain goes through when I sit down to try and write a piece of music, try and write a song. So that's going to be the purpose of today's video. Now, I've been thinking about doing one of these for a while, just to give you all an idea what makes me sort of tick musically. And I've been thinking for a long time what song I was going to do. So the song I've chosen to do, I've decided on the song I wrote. It's hard to imagine it was actually only a few months ago. A song I wrote called Candle in the Night, which is a love song which I wrote for my current girlfriend, just because I wanted to do that. I wanted to do it in such a way that, it wasn't too cheesy, it wasn't too, which a lot of the stuff I write is quite cheesy, it wouldn't look out of place in, Def Leppard or Whitesnake or, anything like that. That's why some people love my songs, some people hate them. Just depends on what kind of thing it is you go for. Anyway, getting back to the subject in hand. I'm going to take you through the song that I wrote, Candle in the Night. I'm going to take you through the whole thing, musically, structurally, to an extent lyrically audible. I'm not going to just sit here and read out the lyrics. If you really want to know what the lyrics are, I'll post them in the description. I'll try and remember to do that when I upload the video. Sorry, excuse the water, I've got a bit of a sore throat these days. So I apologise if my voice starts to go. Right, okay, enough waffle. On with the show, as they say. As I say, my girlfriend inspired me to write a song and a piece of music, sort of about her, dedicated to her because of everything that she's helped me through. One thing you might find weird about this video is I'm not going to refer to her by her name. I just wanted to make that clear because there is a very good reason why I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to tell you what the reason is because I can't, but yeah, I'm not going to refer to her by name, and as I say, there's a very good reason for that. And most of you who watch this video, that won't matter because you know who she is anyway. So I just thought I'd make that clear now in case you thought that was weird that I wasn't doing that. So now with that cleared up, well, I think the first thing what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to play you an acoustic version of the song all the way through, just so that you know what it sounds like, so that then you've got something to go on, to base it on when I start to break it down structurally, rather than just going into various bits and you don't actually know how it goes together. So I'm going to play you the whole song acoustically first. Again, I've got a bit of a sore throat, and I never pretended to be much of a singer anyway. So please do excuse what will be more than usually dreadful vocal. But as I say, it's just to give you an idea. So excuse me, I'll play you through the main structure of the song. Obviously there'll be little bits and pieces that I'll leave out and I'll come back to, and I'll explain later. So Candle in the Night goes something like this. I haven't played this in a while, but I'm pretty sure I can remember it. There was Time when I was lost in the dark, needed a flame to light my way. Your kind of love was the healing kind. Now I hope that you'll stay until the end of time, my love, and through the darkest night. The sun goes down, walking in candlelight, with you by my side. A tear in my eye as I kiss you for a while, but no, it's not goodnight. And I'll take your hand as we whisper goodnight, dry your tears when you cry, until the end of time, my love, and through the darkest night. After the sun goes down, walking in candlelight, with you by my side. You put the love of an angel in this lonely heart of mine. Put a light to the candle in my darkest night, and I stay awake forever just to see you smile. I'd give my heart, my love, my life to know that you're alright, until the end of time, my love, and through the darkest night. After the sun goes down, walking in candlelight, with you by my side. Well, there you go, that's the song in its entirety. Now what I'm going to do, let's get my voice back here, is I'm going to break it down for you and explain how I come up with the different bits. So, first things first, as they say, start from the start. The first verse, that melody was, I was in the studio, in the recording studio, working on a certain project, and when other members of the band are in doing their recording, but you know, if you're in the studio at that time, then they're doing their own thing, so there's a lot of sitting around. So there was an acoustic guitar kicking around, and it just so happened that it had a capo on the second fret, and because it was someone else's guitar, I didn't want to take it off, because up until this is the very first song I've ever written involving a capo. So yeah. So I didn't want to take it off, I didn't want to interfere in case I had it on for a certain reason, so I just picked up the guitar and I started playing about with it. And I just started, I love that. I mean, when normal tuning without the capo, it would be a G to a C add 9, but it's not, it's up. So I just, you know, mucked about with chord combinations, like hand positions and stuff that I liked, and I came up with, and the one I always go to is that. And then with that. So then I started trying to figure out, that gave me my basic chord structure, and then I was trying to figure out a melody to put over the top of that, because I quite like strummed chords, and then over the top of it a picking melody. So I just came up with a very simple. And I kind of put those two together. Also, my reasoning behind it was because I did actually record a demo of this song, which I would stick in a link below, but I can't find it anymore. So yeah, I'll need to try and dig that out. But because the demo that I recorded it's just acoustic. It doesn't have any drums in it. It can be very difficult to get the double track acoustic guitars and get both of them doing the same thing in perfect time. So I came up with the chord backing and then the melody, the picking melody over the top, to get around that issue. And I recorded it just simply on one of these little things. It's just a little pocket studio. It's got a couple of inputs, a couple of microphones, 4 tracks, 4 channels. So it's by no means ideal, but it does the job. It gets the job done if you need to record. It's not brilliant quality, but then again, it's not bad. It's passable. It's dealable with, and it gives me opportunities to record things because at the moment I don't have a laptop. So that puts a spanner in the works there. But yeah, I got around that problem. I was reading the instruction manual for the recording box this morning and I actually figured out there's a metronome on it. So I could have done it. Anyway. That's to one side. I didn't really take any particular influence for the melody for the first verse. That's just the way I like to write things. Chords and a picking melody over the top, 2 guitars doing, because that's the point of having 2 guitarists. It gives you the freedom to do separate things. On with the chorus melody now. I came up with this. This is a combination of 2 things. I'm going to have to take this off to show you these. There's a really infuriatingly annoying song by a band called Kiss. Which is possibly the worst Kiss song known to man, called Beth, which I played in a band briefly with a guy who had a girlfriend called Beth, and then he decided, because he was the vocalist, he wanted to cover this song, and of course the song itself is played on keyboard, so I had to transcribe the melody for guitar, and the melody for that, I think from memory, it went something like. And I hate the song, and I hated playing it, I hated learning it, but I particularly liked that bit. And then I realised you could also do. And there was another. I've actually combined that for the song I wrote about someone I love. For the chorus, I combined influences from 2 songs that I physically cannot stand, and that's one of them. The other one is this little thing, cheesy as anything, called Sarah by Thin Lizzy. And the little lead melody went something, I was so happy and jolly, it just made even me cringe. It went something like. So I kind of slowed that down, put a more haunting sort of feel to it, and combined a similar melody to that. It's not the same, but similar to that with the whole, and the thing with the C chord, that bit, and came up with. So I kind of slowed it down, made it more acoustically, hauntingly sounding, because that's what I wanted to go for. And with the chorus, so that's how I came up with that. Now the second verse, what I tried to do, because I have a bad habit when I write, I just go, sometimes I don't even bother my arse with an intro, I just go verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, a solo in there somewhere, and that's it, done. I call it my fuck it, it'll do attitude. Which is not a good attitude to take. But with this song, I'd made up my mind when I came up with the melody, because when I left the studio that day, all I had was that picking thing for the first verse, and I sort of made my mind up that I was going to turn it into something special, for her, because, and I thought, well, I actually want to take the time over it and make it all fit. So I'm going to stick this capo back on. But that's for the second verse. What I tried to do with it was I tried to create it so that it shared similarities with the first, but wasn't exactly the same. I think that's fucking thing to sit right. So yeah, what I did with that was I just took it's the same chord as the first verse, except it's just a strummed pattern. Yeah, and obviously, it's, you know, you come out of the chorus, and then it's kind of it sort of gives the song a lift. So if I was to record this properly and I was to have drums and bass and everything in the background, that's where, for fuck's sake, that's where everything else would come in. It would all kick in at the second verse. So that was the kind of idea I had there. Let's put this back on. There we go. Right, and again, coming back to what I usually do when I just go, right, okay, verse, chorus. Oh yeah, what's the other thing? Verse, chorus. And then just stuff a solo at the end or after the second verse, before the third verse, or, you know, I can get quite lazy. And sometimes verses and choruses going from one to the other can feel quite forced, because I'll have an idea for a verse and I'll say, right, and then I'll come up with a chorus a week later or something, and then I'll be like, right, okay, they're in the same key, let's just shove them together, and it doesn't always fit. So what I did with this song was I came up with what we call a linking chord. So there's a chord that links the verse to the chorus. So if I take back to the first verse with the and then to get into, I just wrote one extra line lyrically, and I did a thing where I put that chord in between. So you come out of the verse, and then you just go. It's just a little link between the two. It's such a simple concept, such a simple idea. And I've always loved that with D, with the sustained 4 and the sustained 2. It's, I mean, you can, if you're really lazy, you can write whole songs just using the chord D by using that technique. But yeah, just something so simple, just to link the two things together. It makes the song flow a lot better. So if you write songs just a linking chord or a tiny little linking melody, might seem like it's nothing, it won't make a difference, but it makes a huge difference. And I discovered, and all I did for it, I came up with this really genius idea, which a friend of mine said he really liked, where I just wrote one extra line, and just actually picked out the melody on the guitar as I sang the line, like, until the end of the time I love, just like that, just to link the two things together. And the link is something you always sort of come back to. It's the same coming out of the second verse. You do exactly the same thing, except I just strummed a. And then when you come back into the chorus after the second verse, I always try and play with the upstroke, and then down. Again, you can see I do that quite a lot. I quite like that accord with notes picked off of it. So I do it in the link with the, and I do it in the chorus as well after the. I quite like that idea, so I incorporated that as well. To make because the chorus is quite a picked thing, and it's only like a bit of a chord essentially to do that. to sort of bring it up on par with the leg, because if you come out of the strummed verse with everything happening in it, and then you just go back into. So I did a version of it twice, but I did the second time I didn't do the. So the second time I just did, because that again helped me to keep it in time, because I didn't know I had a metronome at my disposal back then. So yeah, that's the chorus. Just the two verses, the chorus, the link between the verses and the chorus. Yeah, I spent quite a lot of time on this one. And again, what I did to make the song, I'll explain more about this later. But I put little leads over certain bits of the verse and over the chorus as well, just to add an extra dimension to it. And I did those electrically. I'll show you those on the electric guitar later on. But that's, and then another thing I never do, which you should do, not with every song, because not every song requires it, but is to put a bridge in. So after coming out of the second chorus, just build up on that chord, and then that's where it would go into the solo, which again I'll come on to talk about in a minute, because that was the last thing that I did, was the solo. And then it comes out the solo and goes into the bridge, which was that. Again with the take bits off chords. I absolutely love that technique. It just gives it so much more of a flow, I think. If I'm being completely honest with you guys, I probably overuse that technique. I probably shouldn't use it as much. But you know, if sticking to what you know is good, if it's good enough for AC/DC and good enough for status quo, then it's good enough for me. So, yeah, that's that now. One bit that I haven't explained yet, which I'll do so now, is the end of the chorus to go back into a verse, because and again, I'm going to talk about this link again, because I tried it by doing that again. But it sounded forced, it sounded repetitive, so I didn't like it, so I scrapped the idea. One thing that I absolutely love is the Pink Floyd song "Wish You Were Here," when it does the double slide thing. You know, obviously that's not in key with the original song because I've got the capo back on, but that whole concept of the. So I just borrowed a little bit of that essentially. So if I'm going to come out of the second verse, come out of the first verse, sorry, into the chorus, back into the verse. So it's all about the links. So you need to, if you're going to go into a different bit of a song, like a verse into a chorus, or a chorus back into a verse, or you know, a different melody into a bridge, or coming out of a solo into a bridge, which is what this song does. You know, just think simply. Think just a small link, whether it's an extra lyric. It doesn't have to be just a broken chord, a strummed chord. It could be anything. You just need to find something that works, that fits, that when the song flows so much better if you put that in it. Alright, so again with the bridge, coming on to the bridge now. That again, in normal tuning, that would be a C to an F major sound, but it's not. Again, it's all up. So, and I'm up F sharp here. But this is the same principle. Just again, sequences that my hand feels comfortable playing. I like the sound of, just moved into a different key to just give it a bit of a different feel. Because you know, I've used all these techniques in standard tuning to death. So, you know, just something a little bit different. As I say, using a capo with this song is new territory for me, and it was just that's all the And again, the bridge has a link coming back out of it to go into the chorus, which is actually the same, almost the same as the end of the chorus. So the bridge. And then that's the link into the chorus. And because the end of the chorus had that, it gives you the perfect end to the song as well. So the song wraps up, but it doesn't just sort of stop like a lot of stuff that I've heard or written does, because no one's actually thought of a proper ending for it. And again, that comes down to being a lazy writer, which I am a lot of the time. But because you just do that at the end of the chorus. It gives a nice ringing chord. Just the start chord of the song, the end chord of the song are the same. Gives it a nice conclusion, a nice ring out to work with. So there you have it. That is basically it. That's the basic structure of the song. I'm gonna come on now and talk a little about how I did the leads and the solo. When I recorded this song, when I recorded the demo of it, what I did was, as I say, I only had 4 channels, and obviously one of them was taken up with vocal. So I had 3 remaining. So I did a double-tracked acoustic guitars. I did 2 tracks of acoustic guitars doing slightly different things. The strumming and picking, and maybe a bit of picking with a slightly different end to it, like I did with the chorus, where I just strummed the chord rather than do the little twiddle thing. And then I had an extra channel, and I was going to use that solely to do the guitar solo, but I thought, what I'll do is I will put little leads over little bits of the verses over the chorus, and I did these on an electric guitar. Did these on my Les Paul through this little beauty. It's a lifesaver, this, by the way. It's just a 5-watt basic practice amp. Looks a bit like a toaster. And I got this really nice sort of haunting tone, because you'll know that those of you who know me will know I'm very inspired by Ritchie Blackmore, and I wanted something that tone-wise that would maybe be something along the lines of what he went for with Soldier of Fortune, or maybe Temple of the King, the Rainbow Song. And so that's where my influence for the sound came from. So I'll show you the bit of the tone, and then I'll explain how I got it. I just basically put a clean guitar tone, and I put a tiny bit of gain on it, a lot of reverb on it, and some chorus on it. So I got that kind of. So if you imagine Soldier of Fortune, it's like. The only thing with this, because it comes through so clearly, you have to be quite gentle with the guitar. You have to be quiet, and because the whole song was acoustic and then I put electric on the top, I had to be quite gentle with what I did, so that you don't hit strings accidentally and things like that, because it just doesn't give a good. So needless to say, I had to do a few takes of this. What I did, the verses and stuff, because the song, if you played it like without the capo, it would be like that. It would be. But the capo shifts the whole thing up from the A minor to the B minor. So what I then did was I could do this, because I knew what the key was, I could do this on the electric guitar without having to use a capo. It was just a lot of. One thing I like to do with my leads and my solos is I like a bit of improvisation. I don't like everything to be set out, and I get hell for this in Search of Sanity, because they are like, oh, you write good solos, you should write your solos. I do it, but I don't particularly like doing it. I like the freedom to move around and keep it interesting. So the leads on over the verses in the demo that I recorded, I just used, standard B minor stuff. And just sort of messed about, just whatever came to me naturally. I just played, so I don't actually remember how to play the exact leads. I mean, I could work them out and learn them, but I'm not going to do that. But one lead I put in the song that wasn't the solo was the chorus, because it had the whole that thing going on, and I did it twice, slightly differently on the acoustic. I thought I would stick a little thing in with the electric as well, so I just, over the top of it, I only do the first bit, so I just do that. Put that over the top of what I already had, and it's now got 3 different layers to it, and I thought it sounded absolutely great. Sorry, excuse the water, it's trying to keep my throat semi-functioning so I can get to the end of this. Now, on with the bit you've all been waiting for. The solo. Now yes, I did actually write the solo for this. And when I write solos, what I like to do is go with because again I'm a huge fan of Paul Kossoff, so I like to go with the whole less is more thing. And the way I like to start my solos off is sometimes I'll take a bit of a verse or a bit of a chorus or a bit of something, a bit of a melody in a song, and I'll incorporate that into the solo. So I wrote the solo for this in 2 halves. The rhythm underneath it is just the chorus, but without that lead, because obviously that's replaced now by the solo. And because I had to record the leads and the solo on the same channel, I couldn't do the leads and do the solo at the same time to make it all happen. I would have needed an extra channel for leads and an extra channel for solos. So I would have needed 5 channels instead of 4. So the solo I wrote in 2 halves. As I say, it goes over the top of the chorus. In the first bit, I took the melody from the verse and then moved it up, did something slightly different. So the first half of the solo went like this. And then back into that link. I'm kind of having to slide about a lot on this because I don't have the capo, so like that you would have to go. And that's the last note. It took me a little while to suss that out, but I got there. And then the second half of the solo, I wanted to do something completely different. It's a little bit more technical because obviously I do like flashy stuff. It's right, okay, sorry about that. What I'm going to do is, rather than to save me recording this whole thing again, because I'm doing this on my phone camera because I don't have a laptop, and it only lets you record for a certain amount of time. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to do this as 2 videos, and then I'm going to put them on a laptop and try and splice them together, and then stick them up as one later on. And just to save me doing the whole thing again. So I was getting to the solo. So the second half of the solo, as I say, a bit more technical. It's kind of flashy and, well, it's not flashy, but it's a bit more flashy than the first bit. The first bits I kept as melodic and as simple as I possibly could. The second bit goes. I kept that bit at the end, or I tried to anyway. So if I play the whole solo in its entirety, it would be like. then after that I came out, just went straight into the bridge. So that's how I came up with the solo. It's not a particularly difficult solo to play. So that is basically the whole thing on a musical basis. And I'm going to talk about it a little now. Just before I go, I'm going to talk about it a little bit on a lyrical basis. As I say, I'm not going to read out all the lyrics. I'll try and bung them in the description or something, so that you can actually read them. And obviously there's a full acoustic version of the song on here that you're more than welcome to listen to over and over. I don't see why you would want to, because it's not a great version. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Well, as I say, when I wrote the song, my girlfriend was my inspiration for it. It's all about her. And before we got together, it wasn't a great time. I'm not gonna go into this too much, because I'm trying to make this a positive, happy video. But I had my own kind of issues in my head and things like that, and then she came along, and she's been brilliant since then. I mean, and that's basically the subject matter of the song deals with that. I mean, the opening line, there was a time when I was lost in the dark, needed a flame to light my way. That's essentially that sets the mood and the sort of subject and the tone for the whole song. Because that's and the other bit I'll mention is the chorus, like "and through the darkest night," so on. Because sometimes when you're not feeling right, the hardest times to get through are nighttime, when you're on your own. And she made it feel like I was never on my own. So she was like, it was kind of like I knew where I had to go, what I had to do to sort myself, but I just needed a little bit of guidance as to how to get there. That's where the analogy about the candle, to light the path, light the darkness, light the path came. That's where that analogy came from. So that is really all I'm going to say on the lyrical side of things. As I say, you can read the lyrics. That's just a general overview of what I was going for, what I was trying to get out. The last bit of the song I came up with, funnily enough, because I always seem to forget to do this when I write a song, the last bit of the song I came up with was the title, Candle in the Night. And the way I came up with that was, I have a nasty habit of, if I wrote a song about someone in particular, I would just be extremely lazy and just stick their name as the song title. And I wanted to make this one particularly special, so obviously I didn't want to do that. Because it's like one of the firsts you don't do that of songwriting. I wanted to make this one a bit different, a bit special, so I thought with the title. And one thing, as I've mentioned to you, both of us, in fact, me and her are both, we both love Blackmore's Night, and the comparison has been made that, we should be the next Richie Blackmore and Candice Night. So I thought Candice Night, and then I thought Candle in the Night. So that's where that came from. The Candle in the Night title was actually a play on Candice Night because of that analogy kind of thing. So yeah, actually it's quite a well thought out title, I think. I'm pretty proud of it, pretty impressed by it. Anyway, that's everything. That's me talked you through the whole lot. Essentially, that's my thought process, everything I went through when I wrote this song. I still enjoy playing it to this day. She seems to love it, even though the demo I sent her, my vocal on it's dreadful. But what can you do? I'm a guitarist, I'm not a vocalist. And I never pretended to be. So, yes. Well, that takes care of everything. If there's any questions, feel free to shoot me a message. I'll be trying to get these videos up probably for the rest of the day now. Because obviously I'll have to do the splicing thing and all that carry on. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed what I've gone through. As I say, if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment, message my page on Facebook. And yeah, that's it essentially. So it's my first video in a while. Hope you enjoy it, and I'll see all you guys later. Ta-da.